What's up, everybody? This is Igor in Russia, and I'm a YouTuber, make videos about Russia as a foreigner. I love to travel to Russia. I love the lifestyle. In this video, since you guys loved the last video about Trump, we're gonna be going into Trump's dream of building a skyscraper to Moscow, Trump Tower, and also, of course, his visits to Soviet Union and Russia. We're gonna go through them. Subscribe to the channel if you're a new one. All right, let's go, guys. So this is not a political video. This is more like some of the background about his visits to Russia and business trips in this case, because his only goal traveling to Russia was to build a Trump Tower, first in Soviet Union and then in Russia, all the way until his presidency. But when this is not a political topic, I'm not interested in that thing at all. And by the way, if you're interested of some merch that I have, go check it out. Like hoodie like this one or some others from my Igor's Russian shop, link in the description. All right, so the dream of a Trump Tower in the heart of Soviet Moscow. It was a dream born in 1980s, a gleaming Trump Tower in the heart of Soviet Moscow. For Donald Trump, that vision never died, even as he launched a presidential campaign and moved toward clinching the Republican Party nomination for the first time in 2016. So in 1987, Trump traveled to Soviet Union to investigate building a hotel there. He also said that he had read Mikhail Gorbachev's Soviet Union's last head secretary, I don't know. Anyways, leader of Soviet Union's Mikhail Gorbachev's 1987 book Perestroika, because while he didn't find it particularly exciting or enjoying, he felt an obligation to do so. The hotel didn't pan out then, but in 1988, when Gorbachev planned a visit to New York City to meet with the UN and with Presidents Ronald Reagan and George H.W. Bush, there was a surprising stop on his planned schedule, which is a Trump Tower. In December, Donald Trump and his then wife Ivana had invited the Soviet General Secretary to visit the building and sit down to dinner. A Soviet official had responded to the invitation directly in the affirmative and indicated that it would be a private meal for just the Trumps and Gorbachevs. Trump said that he hoped to act as a representative of the American people, which, funny enough, did happen already in 2016, becoming a real representative of American people, meaning, of course, presidency, and now for the second term. He wanted to be a representative of the American people in showing the communist leader all that capitalism had to offer. Trump definitely is a cover of a capitalism for sure in many ways. The visit, however, didn't pan out. Gorbachev's plans changed, and before he arrived, and Trump was next from the lineup. Between this meeting and the in 1988, he actually visited Soviet Union in 1987. All right, so Trump considered business with the Russian government since, well, Russian-Soviet government in 1987. Donald Trump once believed he understood why Westerners were hesitant to visit Soviet Union. Some people at high level of lifestyle enjoyment want the ultimate hotel, he told during an interview in Moscow's Hotel National in 1987. They don't want to have to come to Moscow and sacrifice their lifestyle. Well, tourism was very different from today's traveling, but he somewhat probably was right. The real estate mogul was in Russia visiting sites for a potential tower. Yuri Dubinin, then the Soviet ambassador, had proposed the idea to Trump while the two were having lunch in New York in late 1986 or early 1987. Because of the ambassador, Trump wrote in 1987's Trump, The Art of the Deal book, "I'm talking about building a large luxury hotel across the street from the Kremlin in partnership with the Soviet government. They have asked me to go to Moscow in July." The trip was likely Trump's first attempt to do business in Russia, but it would be not his last. Beginning in September 2015, around 2.5 months after Trump formally announced he was running for the president, representatives for the Trump Organization began discussing licensing Trump's names for a tower in Moscow. The project was stalled a Trump organization executive sought help from a spokesperson for the Russian President Vladimir Putin. And this is, by the way, something that in Russia, when you're on a very high level, the most highest level, or if it's a really, really big investment or something, in Russia and former Soviet countries, usually you go from high up and contact like the director or a leader or a governor, and this is how you get things done. It's like a culture. Anyways, almost 3 decades earlier, Trump was interviewed in his hotel room, which Trump would describe in The Art of the Deal as Lenin's suite. He had the nicest suite there, there was no question, but even the nicest suite was a little bit too dingy. It was the type of a hotel where you go into this big grand ballroom to try to get a meal. Every table would be virtually empty, and then they said, "We're too busy," or "We can't take you." That's his words, I believe. Perhaps Trump saw opportunity in those shortcomings. The worker state just doesn't know how to run a posh operation. Many tourists have to cope with the tiny rooms and lack of simple amenities like good toilet paper, sink stoppers, and show curtains. Well, that was the late Soviet Union, by the way. During that time, it was even worse because of the mentioned perestroika. When Trump visited the Soviet Union, the perestroika movement was underway, and Russia, under Mikhail Gorbachev, was seeking to reform. Having this mega capitalist come in and was just a complete departure from the past. Back then, Trump was involved with projects not only in New York City, but also in Atlantic City and Las Vegas. The dream of a Trump Tower in the heart of Soviet Moscow. It was a dream born in 1980s. For Donald Trump, that vision never died, even as he launched a presidential campaign and moved toward clinching the Republican Party nomination for the first time in 2016. Trump's attempt that year to expand his brand into Moscow capped a 30-year-long effort by the celebrity mogul to do business in Russia. And this business included also like premium vodka and of course also the Miss Universe pageant, beauty pageant. Again and again, Trump pursued his Russia project, traveling to Moscow and unveiling 4 ultimately unsuccessful plans to put his name on a building in the Russian capital before he announced he would run for president. Russia is one of the hottest places in the world for investment, Trump said in 2007 deposition. We will be in Moscow at some point, he said. So Trump traveled to Russia for the first time in 1987 as the Soviet Union began to open to more Western investment, but many Americans remain wary of the communist leadership. According to his memoir, Art of the Deal, and he and his then wife, Ivana Trump, scoped out possible sites for a luxury hotel that he wanted to build in a joint venture with the Kremlin's hotel and tourism agency Inturist. In 1996, Trump was back, this time promising to build in the heart of post-Soviet Moscow in partnership with a group of US tobacco executives. The group drew up architectural plans and had meetings with city leaders, but again, it fizzled. By 2005, Trump had found a new partner, a company called Bayrock Group that had opened offices in Trump Tower 2 floors below his executive suite and had clinched deals to build Trump-branded properties in several US cities. The Trump organization gave Bayrock a 1-year exclusive deal to hunt for land in Moscow for a development. And indeed, they did find some interested Russian investors, as well as possible site for the project, a shuttered pencil factory. That deal fell apart, but a year later, his adult children, Ivanka Trump and Donald Trump, traveled to Moscow. He was there visiting Soviet Union and Russia multiple times. But first, let me tell you the story, the background story. So speaking about many trips he did to Russia, there was 4 plans made up, and that also included visits to Russia and meeting a lot of people. So let me go through some of the historical trips to Russia, some of them, most of them less known. In 1986, Trump meets Soviet ambassador at a New York event. Trump met Yuri Dubinin, a Soviet ambassador to the United States. In 1987, Trump meets Gorbachev in Washington. Trump met with the visiting Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev. 1987, First trip to then Soviet Union. Trump traveled to the Soviet Union with his first wife, Ivana, to search for hotel sites for a possible joint venture with Intourist, the Soviet government's tourism agency.
Владимира Ресина с крупнейшими магнатами из США, занимающимися недвижимостью. Первый вице-премьер не скрывал от гостей своей радости. Владимир Ресин в общих чертах охарактеризовал положение столичного строительства и предложил несколько программ, в которые магнаты могли бы с выгодой для себя вложить деньги.
Then, going 9 years forward, second trip to now, Russia. Trump traveled to Moscow with proposal for a luxury residential complex to be built on a property owned by U.S. tobacco company and publicly praised the city's potential. No wonder, it's an amazing place already back then. Now it's probably the best place in the world, Moscow, St. Petersburg. All right, same year, 1996, Trump applies for Russian trademarks. Trump starts to seek trademarks in Russia for company names including Trump Tower. CNN Money reported at least 8 trademark applications were filed in Russia from 1996 to 2008. 1997, Trump meets Alexander Lebed in New York. Trump hosted retired Russian general and presidential aspirant Alexander Lebed at Trump Tower in New York. Same year, Trump and statue of Christopher Columbus. Trump spoke of installing near the Hudson River in New York a bronze statue of Christopher Columbus, created by a billionaire artist friend of Russian President Boris Yeltsin and donated by the Russian government. The statue, taller than the Statue of Liberty, ended up in Puerto Rico. 1999, Trump negative about Russia and Yeltsin. Trump described Russia as out of control and Yeltsin as a disaster during the television interview. 2005, Trump eyes Moscow Trump Tower. 2005, Russia already was under Putin, a very different country from previously mentioned Yeltsin. Trump worked with the New York's Bayrock Group to develop a Trump Tower in Moscow. A site was chosen, but the project did not go forward. 2006, Trump's children traveled to Moscow. Donald Jr. and Ivanka made a trip to Moscow. In 2008, 2 years later, Donald Jr. stated this was one of the 6 trips he made to Russia over a period of 1.5 years. 2007, third trip to Russia to promote vodka. Trump and partners promote Trump Super Premium Vodka 24K at the Millionaire Fair in Moscow. Bottles are decorated with pure 24-karat gold. Well, that's better than even a beluga. In 2008, Trump announces TV show partnership. Trump and partner Affliction Entertainment, a mixed martial arts company, announced plans to film a multi-episode reality TV show in Russia. The show did not get made. 2013, fourth trip to Moscow for Miss Universe pageant. Trump and NBC sold rights to Russians to host 2013 Miss Universe pageant, and Trump attended the event. After the trip, he tweeted, "Moscow is a very interesting and an amazing place, and that Trump Tower Moscow is next." In 2016, already President Trump and Putin speak on the phone. All right, this was the list of Trump's different trips and projects in Russia. And next up is his dream about Trump Tower in Moscow. Continue watching. Alright guys, thanks for watching. I'm Igor in Russia. Please subscribe to the channel. I got lots of interesting, informational videos, informative. I have videos about traveling and exploring the amazing cities of Russia, neighborhoods, you name it, I have it. And also check out my Igor's Russian shop to maybe support the channel or just use Super Chat to support the channel. I appreciate it a lot. Thanks for watching and see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye. Guys, if you wanna rock the foreign agent cap like me, go to Igor's Russian shop and get yourself one, or you can also have a foreign agent. Hoodies, t-shirts, pullovers, same thing with Igor, other merch, Igor and Russian merch, Russian emblems. Go check it out, and you can actually, if you like what you see, that's a good place to start and support, of course, the channel, guys. Go check out Igor's Russian store. And you can order it to any place in the world, not restricted to any sanctions yet.